Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Lisa Pizik Show. Super pumped today to have a lady on named Melissa Feetsum, who I just met online. The beauty of online, the power of online. And before we hit record here and hopped on, we were having a bit of a discussion about that abundance mindset, how women can come together, collaborate, get to know each other, serve the world, and look at the world as the massive, huge, awesome space that it is that you get to share your gifts with. And Melissa's going to be sharing with us today all about video. She's like the social media queen, showing people that you can do video. You can do social media. You can break it down into short, actionable steps that you can take forward and grow your business and grow your brand. I can't tell you how many people I hear that go, I don't do social media, I don't do video. All the excuses come up. And I feel like it really is just fear of doing it bad, fear of doing it wrong. And we're going to address how none of that is true. And Melissa's going to show you how to make that possible today. So who is she? She is a CEO of Directly Social. She's a national speaker, corporate trainer, social media strategist, and has spent over 11 years at the top of her direct sales company before building her own social media marketing business from scratch. Proof that you can do it from scratch and teach yourself just about anything. So Melissa, thank you for being here with me.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to everybody and see what everybody else is doing.
I know, right? So tell me a bit about, we're doing an online summit together. I'm so pumped about this. Pretty much December, January, right? It goes December 3rd to February 3rd, I believe. I'm going to be one of the speakers on there. So pumped about that. How did this idea come about? And it's all about video, exactly what we're talking about. Where did this idea come from? Tell our listeners a bit about that.
So basically, I have been doing this in-person event for pretty much ever. I think we did 7 years. In person, we would have 150 people come for the weekend, and we would train on basically everything. So we would do one on Facebook, we would do one on YouTube, one on Pinterest, one on this, one on that. And we never really got to dive into anything. So it kind of drove me nuts because I can talk forever. So my friends would be in the back, like throwing cards at me, telling me to shut up. It drove me nuts that I couldn't dive in deeper to all the things that I wanted to talk about. So then I got to think, well, why don't we just do this online so that I can literally talk as much as I want and I can teach as much as I want, and I can pull in people like you that I never could have gotten, flown to Las Vegas or flown here, flown there. I can get so many more resources and so much more teaching capability in an online session than I ever could in person, and I get to do it again and again and again. So as we only did this once a year. Well, now I get to do this every 2 months. We can dive into Instagram the next time and Pinterest the next time, and the possibilities just have me so excited and preparing for what's next and what's right in front of us. So
that's so exciting. And you actually answer a really important question that I get asked a lot about. What do I take online and when do I take it online? So what is exactly what you were doing, and when is exactly when you did it? Something that that you've mastered, that you've tested, and that is rocking. It's a tested concept that is needed, and you want to grow it. You want to scale it. You want to reach more people. You want to work smarter, not necessarily harder, right? And I love that this came from an already proven concept of you were already teaching social media. You were already making a huge impact with those 150 people. And again, going back to that abundance mindset, you're like, why not serve more people, get more trainers or coaches or entrepreneurs that are doing this so that everybody wins. And I love that because people go, oh, well, stuff doesn't work online. Well, you have to have the authority already built. You have to know kind of what you're teaching and test that and tweak that, and then it works online. And the second thing is you can do it all alone, but it's so much more fun. Like you said, we've got people from all over the world that are teaching on this summit with audiences from all over the world. And I kind of geek out when I think about that impact that we can make. And it sounds like it's going to be more focused, which is awesome, because sometimes that's what happens, right? We try to teach everyone everything but the kitchen sink, and people go, whoa, 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 I'm kind of overwhelmed. So I love how you said, like, every 2 months you could do something different and really hone in and master that and focus on that. So I love that. I'm so excited for it. And video. So tell me a bit about how you got started in mastering video, and even opening your Directly Social is your brand. Tell me a bit about where that came about and why you felt that was needed and kind of why we're doing what we're doing.
So I started in video probably, 9 years ago. I don't know. There's probably 600 videos on my YouTube channel. And that's all the way back to when I started. And I really started out of a need to teach my direct sales team simple things like how to build a packet, or, I could take 20 pictures and write out and copy and paste and try to explain to them how to put something in a folder, or I could just do a 30-second video and show them. And the power of that, reaching so many people across the United States and across the world, I eventually realized was so empowering to see how many people you could actually help. And so then I just started making more and more videos and started teaching more and more things, and people started listening, and there wasn't a lot out there at that time. And so people were coming to me, and actually they would tell me what they needed, and then I would make a video and another one and another one. So it just kind of snowballed from a necessity that was there. And I fell in love with the entire process of learning. I had no background whatsoever in any type of social media. I was a registered nurse, getting my bachelor's degree. I was not social media in any fashion whatsoever. I mean, my kids had to put stuff on my phone because I didn't know how. So I'm all self-taught, and that's the beauty of it, is that I love it so much that I do it in my sleep. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly loving, and it's just amazing. I love all of it.
Yeah, 2 huge things came out there. One is the efficiency. Like you said, you could take so much time to shoot all these pictures and explain and put it together, and people maybe still wouldn't understand it or wouldn't be sure. Or you said, I could just shoot a 30-second video. And it's a win-win for everyone. I save my time, or in that case, I mean you saved your time. The people who are watching, think of how quickly they could learn, saving them time and the ability for them to understand, right? Like, we are kind of visual, a lot of us now, because of the squirrel brains and being pinged and dinged. And I always say it's like an energy management kind of thing. Like, if we're asking people to do more than they can probably take on, they're not going to do it. If you're like, read this 5-page Microsoft Word PDF document or watch this 30-second video, we're watching the 30-second video, right? Because that takes less energy of our already kind of fried brain sometimes. So the efficiency was huge. I love that you talked about the necessity, where you were like, this is kind of just, I had to teach myself. I had to do this. You are adaptable and willing to go where the world is going. right? Again, people go, I don't want to do video. I'm like, well, you are going to be left behind, because that is the world, that technology, we have to embrace it.
Yeah.
You know, does that have to be the core of our business and the only way that we reach people? No, of course we can do written things or in-person things, but video is just so much more efficient and fun, and people get that instant connection with you. That I love that you kind of shared a little bit about that self-taught necessity of the way that, you know, the world was going, and what you really was listening to your team, right? It was what your team needed. And then I loved how you were adaptable for, you said people were saying, well, now make a video on this, or now I need to know about this. That is winning in business, friends. So listen to what your listeners and customers and viewers and people want, and give that to them. Give that to them on video, and everybody wins.
Yeah.
So do you ever look back? You said 9 years ago. Do you ever look back at some of those? I always laugh, and people always ask me, like, do you ever shudder when you look back at your videos from like 9 years ago? And I won't say my answer, I'll say it after. But do you ever look back at those videos and like, what do you think if you do look back at those videos when you first started?
It's actually pretty funny because in the videos, I mean, I have 5 kids. So in the videos, they're so poor quality. Like, I don't even, like, it looked like I was taking videos through like a frosted glass or something. I don't even know. But, you know, in a lot of the videos, I'm sitting there with the baby, and where I'm like completely 9 months pregnant, like miserable and puffy, and but people freaking, that's what they love. That's the thing about video, is connection. And people try to make video perfect and think that they can't start until everything is perfect, but they need to understand that the imperfections are what connect you to other human beings, because they're like, oh, they're not perfect, and let me tell you, I am the most imperfect person to teach you about imperfections. So, you know, I really embrace my flaws, and you know, I'm a hot mess. I'm a hillbilly from Ohio. I love Star Wars, as you can see. I am a complete geek, and I embrace it, all of it. And I think that's, looking back at those videos, I was just never afraid. And I can't say that I was never afraid. I'm always nervous. I was nervous before I came onto this. Every time I get in front of a camera, I'm always nervous, but I never let fear win. And I think that's the thing. You can't let fear win. A little bit of fear is good for the energy. It's good for, you know, content. It's good for your heart to just, you know, get your heart rate up. We're all sitting on the couch watching Netflix anyway. You got to get your heart rate up sometime. Do a video.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, those videos are really humbling to see and to show where you can do. We're getting ready to, we actually just did a shoot in my street to show people how you can do video with an iPhone. Like, it does not have to be perfect. My husband's like, the basketball hoops in it and my shadows, and I'm like, that's okay. I really want to teach people that you can do an entire video and YouTube channel from a phone. That's what I want. I want to teach them that it's okay. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be perfect.
I love that. I wrote down, the imperfections are what connect you to other people.
Yeah.
It's so freaking true. And the things that you share make you memorable. And that's what makes other people choose you over somebody else. Like you just shared, you're a mom of 5, you're a registered nurse, you're a Star Wars nerd, you're a hillbilly from Ohio. Like, you know, I love that you share that. Like, that is what connects you to somebody else, or to me, or to someone else in the world that goes, you know what, I like her, I know a little bit about her life, I trust her, she's a mom of 5, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's those things that, you're right, it's when you see somebody doing it, like you said, you do get fear and you do get nervous, and I think that's, I totally agree with you. It means that you care. That's what I always say. If you weren't nervous, it meant that you were just going to blow it off and it didn't matter to you, or you were just going to show up and not care Like the nerves mean you care. And
Yeah.
that's really important. But I just love that it's like, do it anyway. You show up. You know, how many times maybe you even expect, I can't imagine, I only got one kiddo, but I can't imagine with 5, like you probably plan to do something or have it a certain way, and then one of the kids needs to be in your lap, or you have to go shoot somewhere else because something's going on. People love that. They love to see you just doing it. You're not making excuses. You're just doing it. And
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's the mentality that I think we need to have. Right? I always teach people, it's like that. Instead of ready, aim, fire, it's like ready, fire. Don't worry about the aim. Like, you'll figure it out as you go, right? That's what a lot of people ask me, like, Lisa, how did you get to the, you know, all the things that I have going on? I'm like, because I just did it. Like, even when I didn't know what I was doing. And if it went really poorly, I learned from it. So I love that advice that you're giving people. So speaking of advice, listeners, this is where you want to get a pen and paper handy. Don't worry if you're driving, if you got 2 kids in each arm, don't worry about it. I will put all of this in the show notes, but Melissa's going to train you now about her top 5 video tips. So hit us with, what are these top 5 must-knows, must-dos that you recommend for anyone going on video?
Okay, so I love to, you know, we're going to talk about this video summit, but why do you need to be on video, and what can you do to make them better and to get more comfortable? That's what the summit's all about. So I really want to just go over one tip that you can use today that will help you in every single video that you do. And it doesn't matter if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, whatever you're doing, it all revolves around, well, first I want to know, answer me this, how many videos are you doing in a month? Are you doing 0? And that's okay if you are, we all start somewhere. Are you doing like maybe up to 5 or up to 10? I want to know where you're at when it comes to video. So when we're talking about video, we're talking about time on platform. It's something called TOP, T-O-P, okay? So any platform that you're on, everybody's talking about algorithms this and algorithms that, and I want to squash all of that and tell you that if you can work on keeping people on a platform, time on platform is the only thing that Facebook cares about. It's the only thing that Instagram cares about. It's the only thing that YouTube cares about, is how well are you doing your job keeping people on their platform. And if you do that, they will boost your video without a single penny coming out of your pocket. Yes. That is all it is about, is how well are you keeping people on their platform and keeping them engaged. So I wrote down these 5 tips to help you with any video that you do. And you can think about this, you can write it down, and you can start doing it on your videos tonight or tomorrow, or, you know, for the future. Write a post. I have this on a Post-it note, and I keep it on my computer, right in front of my computer, so that I always see it. I always look at it. It's a reminder every time I do a video. I'm like, am I staying true to these things? So the first one is your description. Okay, your description. Think time on platform. Okay, what are you doing in that description to, first of all, catch their attention? So you have to have a catchy title, all right? And then you have to have a link. A link is actually a really great way to show, let's just talk Facebook, but this goes for any platform. So it's to show Facebook that your content was interesting enough for them to click a link and learn more. Now, what's going to give you bonus points with Facebook? Hello, if that link takes them to another video of yours on your Facebook page, you have just increased the TOP. I want to say, yeah, you know me, and that shows my age really, really bad. So it increases that TOP on Facebook and sends them to another video of yours. Now that's like massive bonus points with Facebook or any platform, okay? So they want to see another one. So always put a link to more information and bonus points if it's a link to more of your information on the same platform. Now, it's okay if you take and you give it to their competitor that they hate, YouTube, but it's still them clicking on something, but they don't like it when you take them off of their platform. So think about that too. So that's your description. Now you want to talk about the ending of your video. Okay, so right now I'm going to act like it's the end of the video, and I'm going to tell you, hey, if you could like this video, that would be a huge benefit to me and to you, because you're going to see more of my content. So give it a great big like. Just hit that like button right below, or hit that subscription button below so that you don't ever miss any of these great tips. You have to tell people to like this video, to share, and I've heard before, oh wait, they don't want you to do that and blah blah blah. If you look at any of the influencers out there that have millions of subscribers, they're going to tell you every single video to like, share, comment, anything and all, okay? So make sure that you're making that a part of your video. And do you have anybody that would love to see this? So make sure that you share this with them, okay? So go ahead and share that video. Who are you going to share it with today? All right, so that is another thing. Start with a question. So you guys know that at the beginning of the video, I said, so first I want you to tell me, how many videos are you doing? So when you're doing a live video, most of the content is going to be replay, okay? So they're gonna come back in after the video is done anyway. It doesn't matter. Is those people constantly coming in, when you ask a question, they are commenting, and that is showing Facebook that your content is interesting and engaging. So putting a question before every single video, figure out what your video is about, and then ask them a question that pertains to that, so that you're starting every single video with engagement, because that will boost your video, and it shows them that the time on platform is that's such an important piece of that, is the engagement when you're talking about time on platform. Now we have questions. This is actually mine. I really need to write this out and stick it to the wall and leave it, but I keep grabbing it when I'm talking about it. So questions. So at the end of your video, you know, we're talking about this, and I'm just gonna act like I'm talking to you guys. If anybody has any questions about this, put them in the comments, because I really want to help you guys understand this. So if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to ask, because I will come back and I will answer all of your questions, okay? So it's really important to tell them it's okay to ask me questions. I love to answer them. And it's the same thing when you talk about, when you have someone new join your team, you know, you should always be the one to flat out start the conversation by saying, don't ever hesitate to ask me questions, because I am here to help, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Don't ever feel like one question is too small or too big. I want you to ask me questions. You have to relay that to your audience and get them to ask you questions, okay? So you have to say that in your video. Now, after the fact, this is the last one, you want to think about comments, okay? So let me tell you about comments. When someone does ask you a question, let's say Lisa asked me a question in the comments, and I came back and I answered it. I said, Lisa, that's a really great question. Always call them by name. Everyone loves to hear their name. Call them by name in the comments. But Lisa, that was a really great question. So here's the answer. Now, have you ever thought about, and give them another question to answer? Because then what? That's time on platform. They're coming back to this to answer another question, and they're engaging with you, and that is like massive bonus points. That is like the cherries on top to Facebook going, oh man, look, they're having a conversation and everything, and this girl is keeping my people on my platform, and I like it, so I'm gonna boost her post. And that's what it's all about. So that is your top 5 tips. So we had the description, the ending, like, share, comment. Start every video with a question. Ask questions. Tell them to ask questions, and then ask more questions in the comments. Those are your 5 tips today. That was it.
So you guys can't see me because we are, if you're listening on podcast, but I was doing like a little happy dance as Melissa was teaching you all of this. Yes. Number 1, can you feel her energy? She is nerding out about
yeah, like totally.
Right? People always say, like, Lisa, how do you have such high energy? I'm like, because I nerd out about what I teach, and that is you. You're like glowing and nerding out teaching about this. That's like number 1 why I love you. Number 2, you are so spot on. Those 5 tips, guys, if you do nothing else until, well, it depends on when you're listening to this. Right now, we are in the last week of November. You may be catching this later. You may be catching this into 2020. But right now, if you're listening to this, if this is like the only thing you do in the next month until the new year, do this. Because when we think about what are we all craving in our business, in our life, is connection. Why do you think it's called Facebook? Because we want to see your face, right? Like connection is something that, again, that time on platform, exactly that you talked about. Facebook just wants to know that what you're putting out is of interest to people and people care. And that we're having a discussion about it. And I love that people go, well, how do I do that? Exactly what Melissa told you. Ask questions. Call them by name. I love that tip. Even in my nerdy world where I play on email automation, the emails that start in the subject line with Lisa or Melissa, have you checked this out? Did you miss this? Those with a name and a question are the most opened emails when we look at open rates. People love it when you call them by name because it means I see you. I recognize you. I'm calling you out as a person in a good way. I love that you share about, or that you tell people what to do. Again, a lot of times when I build landing pages for people, when we want them to click the button, people will be like, let's have fun together on the button. And I'm like, no, you literally have to say, click this button. Because we think that people get it. They don't. They don't, right? And sometimes I always say common sense isn't always common practice. I've heard that phrase before. So I love that Melissa's telling you, like this, share this. You have to tell them. That's why it's a call to action. We have to tell them what kind of action we want them to take. And these 5 tips were genius. They were so good because they were so simple. They're easy to do. They're right to the point. And you can do this quickly. And it's going to be mega effective. Yeah. So if you don't do what Melissa told you, well, then you're silly. We don't use the word stupid in our family. So I'm going to say you silly. I don't know if you have any words, Melissa, in your family that are like boycotted words in the house, but.
Yeah, we can't say shut up or stupid or hate. Those are our 3. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Can't and stupid are the 2 words that are the like bad words in our house. So it's like, if you don't do that, if you say you can't do this, yes, you can. If you say you hate video, you're silly. It's like, just do it. They're so simple and actionable. And you just like ran through them so quickly, which is awesome. So I'll make sure that I put that in the notes. But as Melissa said, you could get off this podcast and go shoot a video now and implement this now. The only person that's stopping you. And who cares if you fumble your words? Who cares if you want to say like and share and you forget? Then you make a note, and the next time you go on, you put a big sticky that says, don't forget to like and share. Tell them to do that, right? Like she's got her stickies. Me too. A lot of times people say, they ask me like, do you just wing it on video? Yes and no. Usually if I'm teaching something exactly like Melissa did, I have my bullet points that I want to make sure that I hit. My teaching, I kind of wing it and say it because you know your stuff, right? You know your own content, but don't be afraid to put sticky notes. Don't be afraid, even if you grab something. Like I got my sheet here. Again, it's that being human. sometimes I'll call attention to it. I'll be like, I have my sheet because I don't want to forget this. It's so important that I tell you this. And I didn't want to forget. That's why I have it in front of me. Again, that makes you human. So don't be afraid though. It's not even an imperfection, but those little quirks like the sticky note or whatever it is that you do, that makes you you. So, Melissa, I love everything you shared.
Awesome.
Amazing. I love your energy. I love the tips that you share. And guys, this is just a preview of how long is the summit? 8 weeks, right? 8 weeks?
Yeah. There's 8 weeks, 8 speakers. It's going to be insane. I'm excited because this is my thing and I love to learn. So I'm really excited that we have 8 weeks of 8 speakers who are experts in the field from all over the world. So we're going to hear about things. One of the things that I'm super excited about is chatbots.
Yeah.
So how you can use chatbots in video to increase engagement after the video and during the video. So I'm really excited about that portion of it. We have, like I said, experts we have experts that are authors and speakers at Social Media Marketing World. I mean, we've got some really cool speakers that are going to teach us all about video, and it's all actionable steps like we were talking about. Yes. We don't like air, we like actionable steps, and all of these speakers are amazing at what they do. I was very specific about the speakers that I chose for this. And then I will be teaching things just like this on top of all of those 8 speakers. So you're going to get me once a week for 8 weeks, and then also a speaker once a week. So it's going to be an incredible amount of information on video.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was sharing with Melissa, I get asked a lot to go on online summits, like almost weekly. And now it's to the point where I do my research. And exactly like Melissa said, I want to make sure that it's not just air, it's actionable stuff that you're getting like this that you can go and implement. And I looked at the speaker lineup and I'm honored to be a part of it. It's incredible. Like, Melissa, you've really done your work to make sure that this is a really good piece of value for people to tune into. And that's what I always talk about, that time, you can't get your time back.
Yeah.
And if someone's going to give you that much time, we better be serving them with some good stuff. And I know that that's going to happen. So I'm really honored to be a part of the summit. Guys, I will put the link to sign up for it. You're going to definitely want to check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a great way to wrap up and let go of any of those limiting beliefs and fears and nonsense that you have that you don't want to take into 2020. And it's going to be an incredible way to jumpstart your business with, exactly like you talked about, things that don't break the bank. Social media is free. And I love that you brought up, we build chatbots for people. That's part of the services that we offer. We build courses and memberships and all sorts of stuff. But you have to know the strategy and the foundation before you go ahead and build it. You don't want to just build it for the sake of having it and building it. Mm-hmm. And that's typically what we take a lot of time to iron out with people in the beginning, is what is that strategy? What are you going to say? How are you going to strategically use this video before you do a sales video or a landing page or a chatbot or any of that? And it sounds like when you tune into the summit, you're going to learn a lot about those kind of foundational pieces to then be ready to go build it or use it or do something bigger with it. So again, check for the win. I'm so excited to be a part of this. And I'll ask you one more question, Melissa. What are you, because again, this big talk of like going into, the next decade and doing things differently. Like we were talking a little bit before the summit about how a lot of people are saying like, don't do summits and don't share your lists with people and don't, just all this don't. And that's something I know for sure. I never had that kind of like competition kind of mentality. But if anybody does, like, I encourage you to just squash that and don't carry that over into the next decade. Because we were saying that's like old school ways of thinking. So is there anything that you're squashing, that you're letting go of, that you're not carrying into 2020? Or is there anything you're like really looking forward to for a new decade of us starting here together?
I am actually really looking forward to a show. So I started a Tuesday Tech Tips on my own show, and I think that's a fear that I had. So I'm squashing that fear of commitment. Because with 5 kids, you're really just begging for any amount of time to do anything, or a shower to even they can probably smell me through the camera sometimes. So I have to be careful about committing to a time, and I finally committed to that. So that Tuesday Tech Tips is definitely something that I squashed, and I'm getting out there to get started in 2020. Yeah.
I love that. It's like pushing that comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right? Like those things that you told yourself, I can't do this. That's not possible for me.
Yeah.
I have 5 kids. I can't commit to this certain time. Well, now again, that necessity. And I think, I don't want to assume, but I think it's because you realize that the world needs what you're teaching.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I need to teach it. Like, it keeps me up at night, just thinking of all the ideas and the list that I have of all the things that I want to talk about and teach. So I just need to it's therapy.
Right? It's something, it's purpose, right? I mean, it's a different kind of purpose, right? Like I always say, I'm a mom as well. And it's like with your kids, you're building something. We're building these children, right? And that's like crazy good purpose. But then it's like, you're building your business, you're building your passions, you're building other ways to serve people. And it's like, we're built, when you think about women as builders, we build all these things, right? We build a life, if we're married or a partner or you're single or whatever it is, you build your life, you build your children, you build your business, you build your relationships, and then we got to build stuff for ourselves, right? And it sounds like that's your purpose and your calling, to really get bust these beliefs if people say, I can't.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Melissa's going to teach you how. I'm going to teach you how, along with other experts from all over the world. So I can't wait to drop those links in the show notes for how you can register. We want to see you on the summit. We want to teach you. We want you to leave behind all that junk that you think can't be possible on video. Again,
Yes.
5 tips. Go do it. You're silly if you don't. So any last final words, Melissa? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I would love to have everybody follow me on Directly Social. So all you got to do is go to Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, wherever you want, and type in Directly Social, Melissa Feetsum, and give us a follow. Join our Tuesday Tech Tips, and I would love to have you on our Tuesday Tech Tips interview sometime soon, so that we can have some fun over there too.
Absolutely. I think this is just the beginning of some beautiful collaboration together. So I'd be happy to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being on my Lisa Piesik show. Listeners, thank you as always for your support, for your love, for tuning in. You can also head to www.lisapiesik.com. We got the podcast, we got the blog, same thing at the very bottom. We got social media, we got YouTube, we got Facebook, we got Instagram. I always tell people, pick the way that you like to digest information. If you're a reader, subscribe to my blog. If you're visual, go on my YouTube, go on my Facebook, go on my Instagram. Figure out the way, how is it that you like to download information? And then when you head to lisapiesik.com, go ahead and subscribe and get on there with the way that matches and suits you. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.